So when I went to sleep last night, I asked this different question, which was what I found on TikTok. Don't judge me. And it was like this lady, she says, when I go to sleep at night, I ask to align with my best timeline for tomorrow. And she said it in so many words, something similar to that. And it's like, what does that mean to me? Like, if I get to choose like my day for tomorrow, and if I can do this at night before I go to bed and then wake up and then start living this best life that I can in this moment with all of the information and where I'm at on the journey. Yeah, okay, let's give that a try. So I asked this sort of question about a good 10, 15 times before I fell asleep, that tomorrow I'm going to wake up and I'm going to be aligned with my best timeline.
When I went to sleep last night, and she was sleeping already, and sometimes she sort of wakes up and I tell her magic dreams, and she'll say, yeah, magic dreams. And I said that, and she says, I'm going to wake up in the morning, I'm going to be in my best timeline. That's what she said. And I'm like, are you awake? And she's snoring, right? And I'm like, I think this is her higher self talking to me. Because she's done that before, where her higher self has said things. This one time, it sort of blew me out. And I was like, I was trying to be really quiet, and I got in bed and I was saying some prayer or something. And I placed my hand on her, and her oversoul started talking to me. It's like, I'm really busy right now. I'm busy doing some stuff, so maybe later, it said. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, who's talking here, right? And I'm trying to do this prayer, but her oversoul was like plugged right in, and it heard me, and it's like didn't want me to interfere with her dream. So I just shut up, and I'm just like, okay, I'll just say the prayer in my head, and then I'll just go to sleep. So it's really interesting sometimes when she does this. It just, this different voice sort of talks through her, very commanding, very stern too in the way it does, and there's an energy that comes off her. It's really, really neat when that happens.
So one of the phrases I said when I woke up, and I mean, I wrote down my dreams right away, so that I just quickly read it. The second line I'd written was, what does it mean to die 1,000 deaths a day? And I'm like, I'm not sure why this one is specific, like 1,000 deaths. And I know that there's parts of us that die all the time, like beliefs or even cells inside of our body. Memories, they fade off into nothingness. There's like a death process that we're going through all the time. Yet I also understand that there is a fear of what we understand death to be. And that came in later on this morning. But I woke up with the question of, what does it mean to die 1,000 deaths a day, die daily? And then, okay, now I'm switching here. Like, I feel like, okay, now the energy, when, like Joe says, there's an energy that comes in like this, and it's just like all the information comes on the energy. So you have your grandfather, you have that love, you have that sensation, the feeling, the memories, and the awareness of what's your surroundings are like, and it's all happening at once. Like, how can you have that complete 360-degree view of your experience you're having right now? I don't know, like, I know that's a really big thought. And it's the thing is, if you don't ponder some of these big questions, you never really get the answer. Will you allow yourself to go in something so big, so vast, so deep, and then have an awareness that there's an answer to that question, and there's a possibility for that experience to even happen for you, and for you to transcend some of the old beliefs or fears or programming that you have that was in the memory banks of your cells. Like, you can let those things go, they can die off, and you can step into this new energy, like how Joe says it's possible. And it's like, I haven't had that experience yet for myself, but if it's possible for him, it's possible for me. So now what's next? I hope I didn't lose you guys. I know, I'm just like, I'm getting in my way right now. So please, somebody.
The thing is, Cindy, she comes across things and she starts them. She starts these little experiments. Like she was other day, she's like, I want my mind to see everything because it's not your eyes that's seeing, it's the brain is
Yeah.
a superconductor. So energy comes in, it sees it, knows it, it translates it into everything. It's like how the computer, all this energy is shooting through there from cameras and other things all over the world, and we're looking at the screen and it's there. And each person is something is coming in, and the computer has broken it down so we can actually see each person in different parts of the world. We're talking, other things are going on. So even in the environment around us is what's behind us. Like Zarina has the one with the really nice
Background.
stone arch and other things in the background. It's very, very comfortable, very, very nice. And we all have different kinds of backgrounds and stuff. It's like even Bella, she's on the other side. She is there. There's a box that says Bella, but we don't actually see her, and she can come on and talk and things. So the brain is doing this all the time. We don't really recognize it. And there's all these different dimensions. And sometimes you see this little glimpse of something moving. You're like, whoa, did I see that? And you start looking, you're like, but there's nothing there. You start relaxing, doing something, and all of a sudden this thing starts moving. And you're like, whoa. And your brain is seeing that. But is it, can I fully allow my mind to open and recognize and see? Because these spirits are coming through, they're moving, they're doing different things. And it's like you're sitting there and you're so busy and you're like, I think John's going to be knocking at the door in 5 minutes, and you're like not really paying attention. You're like, and there's a big pound on the door, and you're going, John is standing there. It's like, how did you know that? Your brain is already aware. It's there's so many, and we got all these different filters and these things. They sort of move in and out this way. And like I say, when you think of a computer, sometimes that's why I'll use that. I'll use a modem, how a modem will amplify the signal so it comes in stronger. And so when you're in certain different kinds of practices, all of a sudden you plug in a different modem that starts dialing in these other things, like say meditation. You got a certain modem. When you're ready to meditate, you plug that in, you start sitting, you close, you relax into your place, and then the modem kicks in, and all of a sudden it amplifies, and you're in these really, really high energies. And whatever you're questioning, it's going to take you down a certain journey, because somewhere we're contemplating something in the day. And when we're going into our meditation, we're like, but this is what I'm going to meditate on. But you've been in this deep contemplation. Your subconscious says, this is what you've been asking me. So it plugs you into a different modem, and you're going in there, you're like, oh yeah, I want to receive, I want to see this answer. But your subconscious is plugged in, and it says, no, I'm plugging you into this other modem. So you get this download, and you're like, that was really strange. What did I see, or why did I go there? But your subconscious believes that's what you thought was important for the day. So it took you down that pathway. And this is where the brain, like there's many, many doors. I try to say the brain is amazing, and we need to understand the brain. We need to understand the light inside ourselves. And how do we drive? Like if all of a sudden I took any one of you and there was an F-18 outside your house, and I'm like, here, you're supposed to fly this. And I just threw you in, and I'm like, fire it up and just take off.
Joe said I could.
And you're sitting there and you got bombs, you got all kinds of crazy things. And you're like, what button should I press? And you're going to be going like Mach 5 through the air, from 0 to Mach 5. And you're like, whoa, and which button are you going to hit? It's like in the brain. Once you activate these things, it's like, bam, you can be there. But the brain can open up to a bigger processor that is a lot bigger. And Cindy is like, I want my brain to see everything. Like, it's sometimes is really interesting, because there are times in my life where I've had an experience where I had like billions of little eyes all around my head, and I'm seeing everywhere, and these eyes are moving, and I'm watching all these different things going on, and I'm like, how am I doing this? Somewhere inside my subconscious, oversoul, my God source, whatever you want to call it, whatever makes you feel good and comfortable, when, okay, you're going to have this experience. It turns on, all this stuff's going on. I'm like, whoa, that was just so amazing. And that's so thrilling. I want more of that. And I experience this stuff for a while. People don't understand. It shuts off. I'm like, how did I do that? I'm like, where inside me did I was able to go in there and make something like that happen? So this is where paying attention to energy in that, like some spirits will come in and they will help you to open a part of your brain and recognize something and expanding it, allowing the brain to really, really be big. It's very, very scary. Like I grew up all my life. One of the biggest things was praying all the time. I always prayed. I always talked to God. And one day I thought, I'm going to do an experiment. I'm not going to pray for 2 weeks, like for a whole 2 weeks. I'm not talking to God. I'm not praying. I'm not doing anything. I'm just going to wander around. I'm just going to do things. I'm going to try to be human. I'm going to try not to be in the spirit world. I'm going to walk around like I'm asleep and I don't see and I don't feel. That was the most terrifying thing for me. Literally, I was so scared. But after that 2 weeks, there was something really big I discovered, and I was like, whoa. But for me, that was one of the most terrifying things I actually did in my life, was not to pray or try to talk to God or anything. I mean, it scared the crap right out of me because I was so used to doing it. And so, and I walked around and I just tried whatever it was to just be busy and enjoy and walk around, talk to people and do things. And there was a different energy. It was something I really discovered about myself in it. So these things, it's like in your mind, what is it you're really afraid of? Can you really go to that capacity? Because they say there's over 400 billion things streaming through your mind all the time, and you're only processing maybe 1,000, maybe less than that in your sort of conscious awareness. So when you open up your mind to that fullness, it's like, how do you stay in that?
Yeah.
Because Cindy, sometimes she'll open an energy and she can get to a certain point and then it's just too much and it's just gone. And I see other people do that. I'm like, okay, if they're holding this and we can stay here in this thought and allow it to expand, and it gets a little too much. And I don't know if it's fears and other things that come in, but you get to a certain point and it just pops. And it's like, I always ask, how do I stay in this? That was one of the biggest questions I contemplated in life. It's how does a master or somebody stay in that God energy all the time, but never distort anybody around? And it's really, really hard not to shift somebody's energy, but just stay in your own and just view everything, knowing everybody will evolve or step in or choose whatever is next. So how big can you allow your mind to expand and be?